Wow, it feels surreal being here after 7 years. Let's start by getting to know each other better. How many of you here are biology students? Me too. I was a biology girl through and through. I remember sitting in my biology classes and thinking, how is everything in nature so perfect, so precise, and so calculated? And how are we not taking inspiration from all of these designs? Fast forward to 7 years later, working in the medical industry myself, I now realize that nature is the blueprint for a lot of modern medical innovations. In a world brimming with technological advancements, biomimetics stands out by turning to the oldest designer of all, nature. This interdisciplinary field that intersects biology with physics, chemistry, and engineering seeks to solve human problems by emulating nature's time-tested patterns and strategies. This talk aims to focus on how biomimetics is not only for innovation, but can enhance sustainability. As we marvel at nature's ingenuity, we're reminded that the environment is not just a habitat but a living laboratory brimming with innovative solutions. Through biomimetics, the natural world holds secrets that have evolved over millennia, perfectly optimized for efficiency and survival. Let's move on to how medicine requires precision, efficiency, and harm reduction, and how these are shaping biomimetics. Let's move into our first, what are biomimetics? Biomimetics comes from the Greek word meaning bios, meaning life, and mimesis, meaning to imitate. Now, have you seen the resilience of spider webs and the buoyancy of feathers? These are all taking inspiration from nature. Think about a time when you're taking a walk in the park or a hike in the woods. Do you see the patterns in which the leaves arrange themselves or way the water flows down a stream? These are nature's solutions, precise and efficient. Now let's move on to our first example, sharks. These powerful creatures not only fascinate us with their power, but also with their unique skin-like structure. Now, have you ever noticed that sharks, unlike other creatures in the ocean, always have algae and barnacles on their skin? Why is that? This is because sharks have microscopic patterns that prevent microbial adherence. Shark skin is anything but ordinary. Upon close examination, scientists have discovered tiny microscopic tooth-like structures called dermal denticles. These denticles reduce drag and prevent the settling of microorganisms. Utilizing this special ability of sharks, scientists have created surfaces in hospitals that can prevent bacterial growth. These surfaces are being placed in high-touch areas in hospitals, such as door handles, trays, and even medical devices. The implications of this are profound, as it offers a passive, continuous method of maintaining sterility without the need for chemical disinfectants. Not just patient safety, but it also helps decrease the environmental impact that's associated with heavy chemical use. Now let's move on to a creature much smaller, but with a great impact, the mosquito. Despite its role in spreading infections, mosquitoes' feeding mechanism is a marvel of biological engineering. Now, we all get bitten by mosquitoes, right? But we never actually notice the mosquito biting us. We just notice that irritable bump, that itchy bump afterwards. How many of us has been there? All of us, right? So how does the mosquito do this? How does the mosquito bite us so subtly that we never feel it? Well, this is because of a specialized feeding mechanism that mosquitoes have that's called a proboscis. And this proboscis has micro serrations that render the piercing almost imperceptible. This is what we're going to do with this specialized feature. Scientists are using it to create hypodermic needles that reduce the sensation of pain. How many of us are scared of injections? Because I definitely am. Every time I have to go to a hospital, I'm near tears, right? So these needles, imagine that you can get an injection without pain. Would you be more willing to go to the hospital? Well, almost. So these injections can not only reduce the sensation of pain, but also reduce the tissue damage associated with the injections. Now, let's move on to a creature that's another marvel of nature, the gecko. Now, the gecko has a very special ability to climb smooth walls or rough surfaces without liquid or suction. How does it do that? The gecko feet have tiny microscopic hairs on their legs that use van der Waals forces for adhesion. Now, scientists have used this microscopic hair technique to create a new class of adhesives for medical use. These adhesives can be repositioned without the loss of adherence, and they don't leave sticky residues behind, unlike bandages do. We've all been to hospitals, we've all gotten bandages, and we know that it's very hard to remove or it leaves residue behind. That's what traditional bandages do. So what this is going to do is it's going to be used for sensitive patient populations, such as the newborns or the elderly or those with chronic skin conditions where the skin integrity must be maintained. Not just for bandages, but this technology is now also being used in wearable medical devices where it can be repositioned without the loss of adherence or without causing any irritation. This is what it's going to look like. So, as we move forward, we're reminded that we don't just have to use nature as an inspiration, but we also have to protect the very source of our inspiration. We must have a deep ethical commitment to not harm the very ecosystems that we depend on for inspiration. Throughout this talk, we've seen how the mosquito's proboscis, the shark skin, and the gecko's adhesive abilities have all revolutionized medical technology. Let's move forward by thinking of how many more technologies we can revolutionize by nature, by noticing the small patterns that take place every day in our daily lives. Thank you for joining me in this talk, where nature's past brilliance informs our future breakthroughs.